Okay, so this is going to be obviously a video, and I don't have my stand perfected, so let's just see how this goes, okay? Okay, so what we're going to talk about is time. Okay? So, the video looks however the video looks. What the heck? Oh, okay. Okay, so, so I like to say time does not exist, and I believe that time does not exist. I'm going to contradict myself all over the place here. But time has to exist for us to experience being human, right? For example, the way I've been living the last 7 years, outside of time, right? So even if you have your own business, okay? So if you don't have a regular job, kids, sports, the regular things that keep you in the time loop, you live outside of time. And I've always had jobs, I've always had things that had me living outside of time. So once you start living in a way where you have garbage deliveries, have water deliveries, anything at all that starts to put you back in linear time, it's hard to live completely outside of linear time. It's definitely easier living in a car to experience that energy of living completely outside of time. So I was thinking the other day, I was feeling down about something, and Spirit showed me that if I really believed that time did not exist, if I really believed there's no death and consciousness moves on, then I wouldn't feel sad, right? Like, what? Okay, so if I really believe there's no death, then you don't really fear anything, right? You might fear physical pain. You don't really like the people that are in your life to not be in your life, like if they die or whatever. But I don't fear death. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be paralyzed. I don't want to be on a, life support, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, do I live in a way where I really, really fully believe these things? So do I live in a way where I believe there's no time? Well, I don't. So, yes, there's chores, there's certain deadlines, there's certain licensing, there's certain things where we're kind of still juggling linear time and our expanded version of time as we're going into this next realm. However, when I really analyzed what Spirit was showing me, if I'm depressed over something that I wished would have happened in the past or that could have happened in the past, first of all, it would still be over, whatever it was. Billions of dollars or through love or, whatever the fuck, it would be over, right? Would be in a new time. So if I really believe there's no time, I wouldn't stress out about the past. I wouldn't be bummed out that, oh, well, I lost all those years, or I got old and my body, give out, or if you really believe in no time, you know that you're going to regenerate. You know that there's no death. You know that there's really no aging, really, and that you're going to be youthing, and that even when you cross over, you're going to be like what you might know to be 30 here or whatever. There's a lot to it, but the point was that in order to go into depression, you'd have to look at the past and go, oh, I wish it was like this, or I wasted all these years, or I wasted my youth, or now I'm too old, or now I'm, you wouldn't be upset if you really believed that time did not exist. So I would just be like, okay, well, those 10 years were just, okay, so traditional thinking might be, I gave my life to that, okay? I gave my heart, my soul, I gave money, I gave time, I gave all this energy to whatever that was, a person, a project, a business, a child, anything at all. And you're regretting it and you're feeling remorse and you're feeling sadness. You wouldn't feel any of that if you really believed time didn't exist. You'd be like, oh, it's just like a book, right? Like, oh yeah, okay. So the last 10 years is just, oh yeah, read that. Some of it I prefer, some of it I don't, some of it I like, some of it I don't. Some of it I take with me, some of it I don't take with me. And it'd just be a flash like that, because there's no such thing as time, and it really is that. Even a whole lifetime is just a blip. Oh, yeah, that was a good book. Oh, didn't like that part, or didn't like that chapter. And so when I start to feel down or depressed, or things about, health, or people in your life, or family come and gone, or things you didn't do, or things you don't have, or things that didn't work out the way you thought they should, blah, 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 you really can't get down about it if you fully accept that there's no such thing as time. So, anyway, I was thinking about that. So, and then tonight I started doing the, I don't know if I'll put a link in here or not, but it's the, so Brian Scott talking about, sorry, the word psychiana, it was in the, I think it started in the 20s and then it was in the 50s, and it's basically the law of God, right? Calling on the will of God. And the will of God being without and not necessarily within. And it's very interesting. And the first lesson is to be over and over saying, I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. And kind of talks about, we've all heard the stories of like where a child or someone without the strength to lift a vehicle, most people don't have that strength, would just lift a vehicle off somebody. And that was sheer will. Okay, so it comes from somewhere else. And it's very fascinating to me because I have conjured up a magical energy several times in my life due to being alone, not having any resources, moving to a place away from my hometown, my people, my area, not having people. I hired people to do blah, blah, blah. But then the sheer will of, there's many examples to this that I've experienced in the last 7 years. However, these bookcases are one of them. I've moved these bookcases several times. And the interesting thing is that I can't lift them. And I have 3 other bookcases that are walnut, and they're too heavy for me to lift. But I lifted them and I moved them all. And it's a phenomenon to me, right? Because you go, oh, well, if that's not true, then obviously you can lift them. But in normal day-to-day, I can't lift them. I bring in an energy, I conjure in this sheer will, and I've moved mountains, right? I've completely emptied out of space. I've emptied out my storage. I've emptied out buildings. I've emptied, and boom, like, and quick, because of having to do it, being given like short amount of time or whatever, being under extreme hardship, being alone. I last summer or last fall, I had a bookcase fall off of one of these bookcases, a small one, and hit me in the head, and I got a concussion. I was alone. I was living in a car, blood pouring, actually kind of spraying out. It was so painful, man. When it hit, and it all kind of happened in slow motion, and I was like, I just kind of went, I kind of sat down, and then when I felt like I was kind of blacking out, and then there was blood, quite a bit of blood. So I'm like, okay, I got to close down the shop. I got to lock the door. I got to make sure everything's turned off. I got to get in the vehicle. I got to take the vehicle to my storage unit because I live in it and empty it out enough to get in it before I get myself to the emergency room, because I have to be able to rest after the emergency room. I have to stay calm. I have to drive myself. So I get to the car and I reach in to get some ice and hold ice on it, and the blood on the door, blood on the seat, blood all over my shirt. And I'd already been living in a vehicle for quite a few years, so I could disassociate from pain, can disassociate from what the public and what's going to happen, and go slow and methodical in that God self, that willpower of this is what I got to do. And so I got to separate from the extreme pain and the blood, doing its thing. So, and not, so when there was blood on the door and blood on the seat, and I was like, not freak out about it. Just like, okay, well, there's that. I just hold the pressure on it. I drove to my storage unit. I asked some people there for help, and they said no, because I freaked them out. They're like, no, get to the hospital. But I can't, right? Because, obviously if I'm dying and passed out, I can. Could just call an ambulance or have someone help me. But in order to live that way, I had to do that methodically. There was too much stuff because I was working on, this place. There was too much stuff in my vehicle to be in it. So I emptied the things into the storage and just drug them in. And then I got myself to the emergency room. And then I got stitches. And then I had a concussion for quite a few days. And I went right into this energy of when to stop working, when to just make myself go and just lay in the vehicle for a day or two, just holding completely still. And ways to take care of myself that were sure willpower. And moving these bookcases is so fascinating to me. And tonight when I'd heard his stuff on Psychiana a while back, and I really like the name. I'd like to say I'm going to put a link in. Yeah, I might put a link in the description. I don't know, because this video is only going to be about time. But I have another little video I just loaded, I think, in the same channel. No, I didn't. That was on the Energy Raw. I'm exasperated. Okay, Psychiana, Brian Scott. There's lessons 1 through 10. There's videos on YouTube. So I've listened to 1 and 2. I'm not going to listen to 3. The first one is repeating over and over. Like when you're relaxed, you're laying in your bed, you found that, that way to relax where you go, okay, this is my foot, this tense, relax. You follow inside of your body. I'm tired. And then your whole body's like relaxed. And then you're over and over in your mind saying, I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. And you find that white spot, like a flash of white. I've been getting so many other amazing colors in meditation, but that's another day. I'm exhausted. Yeah. I have a lot of different things coming to mind. So I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. Okay, so, and, giving this example on, like I said, I heard it many times, but of this boy trying to get a car. It was an accident, and the car was on top of his little brother or whatever, and he was like just pulling his hair out. He was just so angry and scared and didn't know what to do. And then then the boy that was under the car told him to try. And then he did, and he just found this will, and he lifted the car. And like I said, having experienced that myself, that power is there, right? So that sheer willpower, and that is the power of God, right? We didn't come. If you have to fear a God, that's not love, right? That's not God. That's not any God that I want any part of. I seen someone today say they're looking for a God-fearing woman or something. That's baloney. And Jesus used all of these powers, all of this stuff that is metaphysical, supernatural, even like sex magic and energetic magic and plant medicine and all of these natural things, energy that, Jesus came here to show people, humans, how to be like him, not to be worshipped. And he he fought the church. He's like, the church, no, they're manipulating people. Taxes, no, flipping over the tables and the bankers and get rid of all that. And so, but because there was so many people that followed Jesus and loved his teaching, because Jesus was like, like what we're doing at our church, the ministry of the one, the power of the one, healing the individual, helping the individual, on a case by case. And then after he went off, or some people believe he died on the cross, some people believe the stake. The Bible's changed to where it was a cross, and then it was a tree, and then it was anyway, whatever happened to Jesus, the people were still following Jesus, right? So the church is like, oh, what are we going to do? We got to control the people. So they brought Jesus in as their God. They're like, okay, Jesus is God, worship Jesus, and then still give the church money, still give your truth stuff, fear God. But Jesus wasn't a part of those people. It's so funny that they then continued to support these churches, believing that these churches persecuted and killed their God, which is Jesus. The logic is that. Anyway, I'm all over the map. But I'm going to talk a lot more on this stuff. I just did a research link on it, and I, but it's just so important right now, understanding supernatural law, which is actually natural law, which is the law of God, the law of your God self, your creator God, who you are, right? And the reptilians, they can't create, but they're here, part of the human experience. They were part of the first things that seeded the planet. They can't create like humans can create. We can create. We have the power. It's really important right now to tap into that, and especially for me or people like me that have seen the quantum shifts in reality, that are just like, what the fuck, what now, okay? And as the world gets ready to go back to lockdowns and back to this and back to that, oh my God, right? They're going to go round and round and round until they get more awake and more awake and more awake. And so, to not follow their drama and their fear, their Armageddon, their civil war, their mass hysteria of Bologna. I just love saying Bologna. Okay, or baloney, whatever you want to call it. That those of us who are star seeds, light workers, who've known this stuff forever, that we remember our mission, okay? We came here to raise the vibration. We have the power. So don't get depressed. Don't lay around crying. Don't be like, what am I going to do? Oh my God, these humans, I don't even want to be here. I mean, yeah, do that if you want. It's hard not to. I'm watching what's playing out. It's like, oh my God. But remembering things like this, like the law of God, and you are God, and your conjuring power, and not being afraid of your magic. They demonize the witches and all the power of the witches is the natural law of God. Okay, it is the God law. To be able to work with the plants, work with the waterways, work with the natural energy, work with God. Channel God. You don't need a guru. You don't need someone telling you anything. You have it all. You summons it, and you learn more and more about that. So instead of focusing on the latest COVID death and the latest bullshit from the fucking human menagerie of empty-headed, bobbly-headies, whatevers, you just keep focusing on learning your powers, studying ancient texts, conjuring up the life you want. I love to say that, but then I just go, well, fuck that. Do I fucking have the fucking life I want? Well, yeah, I created it. Well, fuck. But remembering your power. So, I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. And I am a God. I'm a creator God. So, anyway. And it was funny to ask myself, well, I must not believe that there's no time. It was really funny when the Spirit said that to me. I'm like, oh, you're feeling a little down, are you? So you're regretting the last 20 years, or you're looking back at this and you're regretting this, or you're thinking, oh, now I'm old and now I have this and now. Well, then you believe in time, but at the same time you're yapping about time don't exist. So if I can really embrace that time don't exist, I'll probably be happy all the time, right? In theory. Well, yeah, I guess in theory. Okay, well, that's what I got for now. I'll let you study the chair while I come over here and, turn this sumbitch off. Yeah, I said sumbitch.